In my past life, I accidentally saved Olivia Hamilton, a kidnapped heiress from New York's elite circles. I worked 4 jobs a day, pouring everything I had into raising her like a cherished princess. But after her family found her, she ordered everyone never to mention that shameful past. Mr. Hamilton, Olivia's grandfather, grateful for what I'd done, asked what I wanted. Back then, I naively said, I want to marry Olivia. I want to take care of her forever. But I didn't know that from the day she returned to the Hamiltons, Olivia had fallen for Liam, another wealthy socialite. After we married, she treated me with extreme coldness, even wiping her hand with a handkerchief immediately after holding mine. Later, she got pregnant. To avoid being labeled an adulteress and be with him legitimately, Olivia pushed me off a high-rise herself. Before I died, she told me casually, Liam was always my first choice. The backup could have been anyone. Ethan, how could a lowly poor man like you ever deserve to be my husband? Then I opened my eyes, back on the day Mr. Hamilton asked what I wanted. This time, I put aside my foolish dreams and booked a flight out of New York City for the following week. Calmly, I told Mr. Hamilton, I'd like a sum of money, and then I'll leave New York to pursue the life I want for myself. What? Are you really willing to leave Olivia? Hearing my answer, Mr. Hamilton frowned, his eyes filled with disbelief. Everyone knew how much I loved Olivia. They all assumed I'd used the fact I saved her life as leverage to make her marry me. In my past life, that's exactly what I did. And what I got in return was coldness, disdain, and ultimately, death. The feeling of hitting the ground, my body shattering, is still painfully clear. Even the look of relief in Olivia's eyes as she pushed me is etched in my memory. Reborn, I don't want to chase foolish dreams anymore. I took a deep breath, gave a calm smile, and looked at Mr. Hamilton. Olivia and I are worlds apart. She deserves better. I also want to pursue my own life. Please, Mr. Hamilton, grant me this. Mr. Hamilton, sitting opposite me, was silent for a long moment before sighing and nodding. You're right. The difference in your statuses is too great. It wouldn't lead to happiness. The Hamiltons are grateful you saved her life and put so much effort into raising her so well. I'll give you whatever amount you ask for. He looked up at me. Ethan, you don't actually have to leave New York. I would certainly help pave the way for your future here. Hearing this, I smiled and shook my head, lowering my gaze and murmuring, a bird needs open skies to fly. I want to experience a life that doesn't revolve around Olivia. Mr. Hamilton, please don't tell her I'm leaving just yet. She's just taken over the company and is very busy. I don't want her distracted by this. Leaving the Hamilton estate, dusk was settling. Just as I pulled open the car door, my phone rang in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw it was Olivia. In my past life, around this time, she and Liam had already developed feelings for each other. But I had used the life-saving favor to have Mr. Hamilton force her to marry me. After the wedding, lost in my own happiness, I didn't notice anything until I walked in on Olivia and Liam kissing passionately. Only then did I realize someone else already occupied her heart. Snapping back to the present, I answered the call. Before I could speak, Olivia's furious voice erupted from the other end. Ethan, I told you to bring that file over. Are you dead? Look how long it's been. You can't even handle such a simple task. What use are you? Her yelling reminded me I was supposed to deliver a document to her. I took a breath. I forgot. If this were before, I would have groveled, apologized profusely, and rushed it over. But now I suddenly didn't want to. Olivia on the other end was silent for a long time, as if she couldn't process it. Finally, she muttered, You forgot that? Idiot. Whatever. Make dinner. I'm coming back soon. With that, Olivia hung up without giving me a chance to reply. I stared at the disconnected call screen, an undeniable pang of bitterness rising within me, tears welling in my eyes. The next second, I quickly opened a booking app. I booked a one-way ticket overseas for the following week. 5 years ago, living in a small town upstate, I accidentally saved Olivia after she'd been kidnapped and fallen off a cliff. She was severely injured and had lost all memory of who she was or what had happened. I spent all my money nursing her back to health. After reporting it, the police told me they couldn't find any information about her identity and asked me to look after her for the time being. That turned into 5 years. Once Olivia recovered, she revealed a completely different side. She was incredibly smart, and her beauty was simply breathtaking. The people in town used to tease me. Looks like Ethan found himself a wife. I was too shy to argue, but deep down I felt happy. As an orphan who grew up relying on the kindness of neighbors, Olivia's arrival changed my life in ways I hadn't realized. I gradually got used to having her around, so I dropped out of school and started working 4 jobs a day to support Olivia's education, making sure she had good clothes and food. Over 5 years, I raised her into a beloved, cherished young woman. Olivia was diligent too. She did well in her studies and was very good to me. She'd secretly work part-time because she felt bad about how hard I worked, using the money she earned to buy me new clothes I couldn't afford myself. Day after day during the cold winters, she'd come to meet me after my shift. After 5 years of this mutual care and affection, Olivia's family found her. That's when I understood why the police couldn't find her identity back then. She was a high-profile heiress from New York's elite, carefully protected by her family from public knowledge since childhood. The day we left the small town, Olivia gently held my hand. Her eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. "Ethan, come with me. From now on, it's my turn to take care of you." When I pushed open the door, faint light illuminated the living room. Olivia, wearing an obviously expensive, custom-made little black dress, sat on the sofa with a dark expression. Hearing the door open, she slowly turned her head, her voice laced with ice. "Where were you? Didn't I tell you to stay home?" I stood frozen for a long moment, then wordlessly flipped on the main light. I answered her question nonchalantly. "Mr. Hamilton had something to ask me, so I went back to the estate." Then I walked into the kitchen, expertly tied on an apron, and started cooking. Seeing my indifferent attitude, Olivia instantly flew into a rage, storming into the kitchen. "Ethan, are you trying to start something? What kind of attitude is that?" I don't know when it started, but her words towards me were always barbed. In my past life, I just assumed she was stressed from taking over the company. But now I knew, because the love was gone, there was naturally no need for politeness. A wave of bitterness washed over me. I took a deep breath, put down the knife, and turned to face Olivia. "What kind of attitude do you want me to have?" "Olivia, I don't owe you anything." Hearing this, her hands clenched tightly at her sides, knuckles cracking. Her eyes, bloodshot, glared at me as she sneered. "Don't owe me? Ethan, if it weren't for me, would you be living in such a nice house, driving such a nice car? Don't forget, you were just an orphan from a small town. The more familiar someone is, the better they know where to stick the knife for maximum pain." My heart shattered into pieces, but I had to hold back the tears. After a long pause, Olivia seemed to realize what she'd said. Her anger subsided, and just as she was about to speak, her phone rang. As soon as she pulled it out of her pocket, I saw the name Liam on the screen. Compared to her explosive anger towards me, Olivia's tone with him could only be described as gentle as water. "Liam, don't worry, I'll be right over to pick you up. Just stay put in the car, okay?" Olivia said, anxiously leaving the kitchen without even glancing back at me. Not until the door clicked shut did I stumble and collapse onto the cold floor. Tears finally escaped, uncontrollably streaming down my face. Sobbing, I clutched the fabric over my left chest, whispering painfully, "Olivia, every time you say that name, are you thinking of me? Ethan, or him, Liam?" That night, Olivia didn't come home. The next day, I saw the trending news. Pictures of her being carried into a villa by Liam. Everyone was saying that Olivia Hamilton, the New York heiress, and Liam, the wealthy socialite, were getting close. A match made in heaven finally coming together. Yes, they belonged to the same world. To Olivia, I was just an outsider who happened to save her life. It only took 3 days to prepare my documents for going abroad. I even paid a hefty fee to enroll in a study program, planning to study overseas for a few years. Olivia was right. Without her, I would never have lived the life I had now. So we didn't owe each other anything. Since coming to New York, Mr. Hamilton had been quite good to me. Since I was leaving and had taken such a large sum from him, I thought I wouldn't see him again, so I decided to buy him a small gift. As I pushed open the door to a tie shop, I saw Olivia inside, fitting a tie on Liam. Her face was full of smiles as she carefully adjusted it for him. Their eyes lingered on each other, filled with an unspoken intimacy. Just then, Olivia noticed me. Her smiling face instantly turned gloomy. She frowned and walked towards me, displeased. "Are you following me?" My heart tightened. I was about to explain when Liam spoke first, smoothly taking Olivia's hand. "You must be Mr. Ethan, the benefactor who saved Olivia." Seeing them like this, I couldn't remain calm. My reply inevitably sounded a bit sharp. "What if I am?" "Ethan, watch your tone." As soon as I finished speaking, Olivia shouted. Hearing this, I looked at her and gave a cold smile. Did I say something wrong? Liam quickly stepped in to smooth things over. He smiled gently and tugged at the corner of Olivia's dress. "Come on, Olivia. Why get angry over someone so low class?" He then looked at me contemptuously. "Mr. Ethan, it seems living with the Hamiltons for a few days has made you forget your place. Don't forget, if you hadn't saved Olivia, you wouldn't even have the right to stand here talking to me in your entire life." Everyone seemed to think it was my honor to have saved Olivia, even Olivia herself. Thinking this, I lowered my gaze and scoffed coldly, my tone flat. "If I could do it over, I'd rather have never saved her." "Ethan!" Olivia roared, her eyes looking like she wanted to devour me. She gritted her teeth. "Say that again if you dare." I looked up at her, tears blurring my vision, my voice hoarse. "Olivia, if I could, I'd rather have never saved you." This time, she didn't speak, just looked at me with a complex expression for a long time. Finally, she stormed out. Liam immediately moved to follow her, but as he passed me, he abruptly stopped, turned his head, and grinned triumphantly. "By the way, there's some good news I think I should share with Mr. Ethan. Olivia's pregnant." Those two words instantly froze the blood in my veins. Something that happened years later in my past life had apparently moved up. Seeing my stunned expression, Liam smirked with satisfaction and left. The night before I left, Olivia unexpectedly called me. She said she wanted to talk things over properly. I figured she wanted to tell me about the pregnancy, or perhaps their wedding plans. But whatever it was, it didn't matter anymore. When she arrived, her eyes immediately fell on the packed suitcase I'd placed by the entrance. Olivia paused, looking puzzled. "Where are you going?" I glanced blandly at the luggage and, for the first time, lied to her. "Remember Mrs. Peterson who lived next door to us? She's sick and said she misses me, asked me to go back and visit." "When are you leaving?" Olivia pressed urgently. I hesitated for a moment, then instinctively continued the lie. "Tomorrow night." Hearing this, Olivia nodded and said to herself, "Mrs. Peterson was always kind to me too. I'll go back with you tomorrow night to see her." I didn't answer. Neither of us spoke, the silence becoming strangely awkward. Finally, Olivia broke the tension. She looked at me hesitantly several times before pulling a velvet box from her pocket. The moment she opened it, a stunning diamond ring, the size of a pigeon's egg, caught my eye. My heart skipped a beat. I couldn't help the pang of bitterness, thinking, are she and Liam really getting married? "Is it beautiful?" Olivia asked. Hearing her, I snapped back to reality and looked up. "It's okay." She fell silent, pursing her lips, looking somewhat disappointed. "Ethan, I know I've been really irritable lately and said a lot of hurtful things, but I truly didn't mean it." Olivia suddenly started apologizing. I smiled faintly, thinking she at least had the decency to apologize for everything she'd done before we parted ways. "It's okay. It's all in the past," I replied indifferently. Hearing this, Olivia's eyes lit up. She unexpectedly grabbed my hand. "Really? You're really not angry?" I didn't know why she was acting like this. Just as I was about to speak, the phone in my pocket vibrated. I gently pushed Olivia away, took it out, and saw a message from the real estate agent I'd contacted earlier. "Mr. Ethan, the rental arrangements you requested have been finalized. The landlord will contact you upon your arrival." I turned off the screen and looked back at Olivia. This was truly goodbye. So I took a deep breath and smiled at her, something I hadn't done in a long time. "Yes, I'm not angry." Hearing this, Olivia seemed to let out a huge sigh of relief and reached for my hand again, but this time I instinctively stepped back. She noticed the subtle movement, and her smile visibly froze. "Ethan, are you really not upset with me?" "Actually, there's a lot I've always wanted to tell you." "Olivia, let's talk when I get back." I interrupted her, feeling inexplicably tired. She opened her mouth, but ultimately just nodded. Yes, we have plenty of time. We can talk after visiting Mrs. Peterson. Claiming I was tired and wanted to sleep, I politely asked her to leave. As she was going, Olivia kept looking back at me, pausing at the door to press the ring into my hand. Hold on to this for me. I'll come pick you up after work tomorrow, and we'll go see Mrs. Peterson together. I watched her with a silent smile. The second the door closed, I tossed the ring into the trash without hesitation. Dragging my suitcase and grabbing my car keys, I headed for the airport. This time it was really over. 5 years later, the plane landed in New York City. As soon as I walked out of the terminal, I spotted her from afar, Chloe, leaning against a black Bentley by the roadside, a beautiful woman with a gentle smile. Clearly, Chloe saw me too. She waved, then strode over to me. Long time no see, Ethan. I returned her smile. Fancy the great director Chloe picking me up personally. Chloe didn't answer immediately, instead taking my suitcase. Ushering me into the car, she said, "Everyone's waiting for you. They're all excited to meet the famous late-blooming screenwriter." After leaving New York 5 years ago, I flew to the US to study. I stumbled into screenwriting and fell completely in love with it. Starting from knowing nothing to being able to write a solid script independently, and then dedicating myself to the profession, it only took me 5 years to make a name for myself. Many people were curious about how this screenwriter who started late had managed it. Coincidentally, Chloe had a pretty good IP she was working on. She contacted me about collaborating, and remembering her help when I was abroad, I agreed without much thought and returned to New York. On the way to the welcome dinner, I watched the familiar streetscapes receding outside the window and couldn't help feeling emotional. I thought I'd never return to this place, yet here I was again. "How long are you planning to stay this time?" Chloe asked. Without much thought, I answered truthfully, "I'll leave once your movie wraps up. The weather in Austin should be nice then. I'll go gather some inspiration." Chloe nodded knowingly. We fell silent again. Soon, we arrived at the venue for the welcome dinner. We went upstairs side by side. Pushing open the private room door, we saw the colleagues who had been waiting. What surprised me most was seeing someone I thought I'd never meet again in this lifetime, Olivia. "Everyone, let me introduce you. This is the renowned screenwriter joke, whose real name is Ethan," Chloe announced. As her voice faded, applause filled the room. Several people looked at me, whispering among themselves. "I didn't expect such a famous screenwriter to be so young. He looks like a wet behind-the-ears kid." "Don't say that. His abilities are well known in the industry. I heard director Chloe went through a lot of trouble to get him back here. Looks like their relationship is pretty special." These murmurs didn't affect me. I pulled my gaze away from Olivia and offered a calm smile to the group. "Please just call me Ethan. I look forward to working with all of you." After I spoke, Chloe gestured for me to sit down. But from the moment I entered the room, I felt an intense gaze fixed on me. It was obvious who it belonged to. As soon as I sat, Chloe introduced Olivia to me. "Ethan, this is the main investor for the film, Ms. Olivia Hamilton." Then she looked at Olivia. "Ms. Hamilton, this is my friend, Ethan." "I never heard you mention having a friend like this before," Olivia said, her voice low and tinged with displeasure. Chloe raised an eyebrow. "Well, he's not just any friend. Plus, Ethan doesn't live in New York, so it's normal you haven't met, Ms. Hamilton." "Not just any friend?" Olivia repeated the words slowly, then let out a cold laugh. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, everyone else tactfully quieted down. I poured myself a full glass of wine, stood up abruptly, and looked at Olivia. "Ms. Hamilton, thank you for investing in Green Mountain. Chloe and I are indeed good friends. Let this drink be a toast to the movie's success." With that, I tilted my head back and started downing the strong liquor. But this action made both Chloe and Olivia jump to their feet simultaneously, frowning at me. Before the glass was empty, Chloe snatched it from my hand. Amidst everyone's surprised looks, she finished the rest in one go, then turned to me with a smile. "Your stomach can't handle drinking like that. Don't try to be tough." A familiar scene flashed in my mind. The first time Chloe and I met was 3 years ago when I was just starting out. It was a similar networking event, and the director at the time insisted I drink a full glass of hard liquor. After hesitating, unable to think of a reason to refuse, I braced myself and raised the glass. Suddenly, a slender, fair hand snatched the glass away. Before I could react, Chloe had downed the drink. Then she smiled at the director and said, "Don't make things hard for the newcomer." Chloe and I held each other's gaze for a long moment before I finally came back to myself, only to meet Olivia's indescribable expression. Olivia let out a cold scoff, raised her hand, and began to clap slowly. When she spoke again, her tone was dripping with sarcasm. "Director Chloe and Mr. Ethan really are unusually close, even sharing the same glass." Hearing this, Chloe was about to speak, but I cut her off. "I just got off a plane after more than 10 hours. I'm quite tired, so please excuse me for not staying longer today. We'll have plenty of opportunities to meet in the future. Enjoy yourselves tonight, everyone. It's on me." With that, I stood up to leave, not giving Olivia even a single glance. Chloe looked at me with concern, leaning closer. "Are you okay? Let me take you back." I shook my head. "No need. I can get back myself." "Can you find your way back alone?" Chloe asked with a slight smile. "Come on. I need to head back and deal with some things anyway." My stay in New York wouldn't be long, so I initially planned to stay in a hotel. But Chloe insisted she had several apartments in the same complex, just sitting empty, and invited me to stay in one of hers. After refusing several times to her firm insistence, I stopped being polite and accepted. Chloe said goodbye to everyone present and left with me. But just as we reached the underground parking garage, Olivia called out from behind us, "Ethan, wait!" Both Chloe and I stopped. Chloe instinctively shielded me, smiling at Olivia. "Ms. Hamilton, do you need something else from Ethan? It's quite late though. If there's business, perhaps we can discuss it at the studio next time." But Olivia completely ignored her, walked around Chloe, and grabbed my arm, her eyes red-rimmed. "These 5 years, where did you go? Do you know back then?" "Ms. Hamilton, please have some self-respect," I interrupted Olivia, pulling my arm free and stepping back. A flicker of shock and hurt crossed Olivia's eyes. She repeated my words hoarsely, "Ms. Hamilton? Please have some self-respect." "Ethan, you never used to call me that." I looked at her emotionlessly and replied coolly, "You said it yourself, that was the past. Of course, it's different now. If there's nothing else, please don't block the way. I need to go rest." Seeing I was about to leave, she quickly grabbed me again, her tone suddenly pleading. "Don't go. Ethan, I have so much I want to ask you, so much I want to tell you." This time, before I could answer, Chloe strode forward and pulled Olivia's hand off me. "Ms. Hamilton, Ethan is tired. Please stop harassing him. Whatever it is, let's talk next time. We're going home now." After saying this, Chloe started leading me away. Olivia let out a cold snort, her gaze sharp as she looked between us. "You're going home? You live together?" Chloe nodded. "Yes, we live in the same place. I don't care what past you had with Ethan, but right now he's exhausted and needs rest, so stop bothering him." With that final word, Chloe gave Olivia no further chance and led me away. On the way back, Chloe and I sat in the back seat. Neither of us spoke first, but I could feel she had many questions. So I told her the story of Olivia and me. Her frown deepened as she listened. We weren't really boyfriend and girlfriend, just two people who supported each other through a difficult time, I concluded. Then, I turned to Chloe and asked jokingly, "But aren't you afraid she'll pull her investment after you talk to her like that?" Chloe snapped back to reality and smiled casually. "Ethan, now I'm the one who doesn't want to continue the collaboration. Pulling investment is fine. I can cover it myself." Hearing this, I chuckled. "Quite impressive, Director Chloe. Don't blame me if she really does pull out." Chloe smiled helplessly and reached over to playfully ruffle my hair. "No way. Who else would I blame but you?" The atmosphere was far more lighthearted than I expected, which was typical of how Chloe and I had interacted over the past 3 years. Relaxed and comfortable without any burden. Chloe had arranged my accommodation perfectly, even thoughtfully making the bed for me. "I live just upstairs. Call me if you need anything. The housekeeper keeps this place clean, but the bed wasn't made. I'll have someone come tidy up properly tomorrow." Finishing making the bed, Chloe turned back and smiled at me. "Just make do for tonight." Looking at the well-kept room, I smiled and nodded. "Okay, thank you, Director Chloe, for personally making my bed. I'm truly grateful. You and your smooth talk." After tidying everything, Chloe prepared to leave for her own rest. After giving me a string of reminders, she suddenly threw herself into my arms. I froze, my hands hovering in the air, hesitant to embrace her. But she hugged me tighter, resting her head on my chest and whispering, "Ethan, long time no see." Soon, I threw myself into filming, spending all day at the studio refining the script and heading home with Chloe after work. Her cooking was excellent, and in just a few days I'd gained several pounds. One day, as we were leaving work side by side, Chloe turned her head with a smile. "What's for dinner tonight? Didn't you want sweet and sour ribs last time?" "Enough, Chloe. Can't you see how fat I've gotten?" As we were joking, Olivia suddenly appeared out of nowhere, blocking our path. She had actually been coming to the set frequently these past few days, always seeming like she wanted to say something but hesitating. I had intentionally avoided her, leaving her no opportunity. "Ms. Hamilton, if you're worried about the filming progress or quality, you can still withdraw your investment now." "I won't charge you a penalty," Chloe said curtly. But Olivia ignored her again, walking straight up to me and asking somewhat humbly, "Ethan, I'd like to invite you to dinner. There's a lot I want to talk to you about." I knew if I didn't agree, she would continue to pester me. So, I sighed resignedly, nodded, and then looked at Chloe. "You head back first. I need to talk with her." "Ethan." Chloe started to say something but ultimately held back, saying coolly, "I'll wait for you to come back for dinner." She shot Olivia a glare and strode away. Once Chloe's figure disappeared completely, I turned back to Olivia. "Whatever it is, Ms. Hamilton, you can say it here. Though I don't really think there's anything left for us to talk about." Faced with my resolute attitude, Olivia gave a bitter smile. "You lied to me. You promised we'd talk properly when you got back. But when I went to find you that day, you were gone. I thought you went back to see Mrs. Peterson without telling me. I drove all night back to the small town to find you, but Mrs. Peterson said you hadn't been back at all." "Ethan, do you know how desperate I felt at that moment?" Seeing her pained expression, I felt nothing inside, except maybe a little anticipation for whether Chloe would make those sweet and sour ribs. "I don't know, and I don't want to know. Olivia, since you chose Liam, I wished you well, which is why I chose to leave." I paused, shrugging. "Besides, we never really had a relationship." "Ethan," she yelled at that, her eyes already incredibly red. "How can you say we had no relationship? You saved me. You worked 4 jobs a day to support me. You haunted my dreams, and now you say none of it matters? Do you even have a conscience?" Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh, looking at Olivia with a puzzled frown. "Shouldn't I be asking you that? Olivia, do you have a conscience? Have you really forgotten all the things you said to me?" My counter-question left her speechless. She opened and closed her mouth several times in agitation before finally saying, "Ethan, believe it or not, I truly know I was wrong. I had a dream. In the dream, you used saving my life to force my father to let me marry you. I was happy at first, until I met Liam through work, and our relationship became complicated. Then you misunderstood our relationship, and somehow we drifted apart. I started treating you badly, and even caused your death. Afterward, I was filled with regret, developed severe mental illness, and eventually killed myself to follow you. But when I opened my eyes, I was back 2 days before you left. That's why I tried desperately to keep you." As she spoke, she hastily pulled out a velvet box from her pocket. Inside was the very diamond ring I had thrown away years ago. Olivia said urgently, "I originally planned to propose to you. I wanted to make up for how I hurt you in the past. But you left without a word. I searched for you for 5 whole years." Listening to her words, my first reaction was that Olivia had also been reborn. Thinking this, I suddenly understood why she contacted me the night before I left, and why she seemed like a completely different person. I took a deep breath. "But you were already pregnant. As the child's mother, could you really just casually switch his father?" "Ethan, you've wronged me." Olivia suddenly cut me off, rushing to explain, "I wasn't pregnant. I swear on my life. That was just a lie Liam made up back then to make you give up." "Ethan, believe me." Judging by Olivia's expression, she wasn't lying. But in the previous life, she did develop feelings for Liam. It was just that this time, she was reborn before anything significant could happen between them. I suddenly felt a sense of disorientation, thinking fate was playing tricks. But what happened, happened. From the moment I decided to leave, I never intended to look back. And I didn't plan on telling Olivia that I had also been reborn. So I gave a cold smile. That's quite a story. But even so, we can't go back. Olivia, stop disturbing the peaceful life I have now. After saying this, I turned to leave. Unexpectedly, she let out 2 low laughs, then asked dejectedly, "Are you being so cold to me because of Chloe?" Hearing this, I stopped but didn't turn around. Even if it wasn't because of her, I would still be this cold to you because of someone else in the future. Because the Ethan who was warm to you, you already lost him. As I pushed open the door to the apartment, I saw Chloe in the kitchen, wearing an apron, busy cooking. Dinner was already set on the table. Hearing the noise, she turned around and gave me a faint smile. "Wash your hands, time to eat." I knew Chloe was angry about what happened earlier. So I walked into the kitchen and deliberately washed my hands beside her for a long time. Chloe didn't look at me the entire time, still focused on her cooking. After washing my hands, I just stood there watching her. She finally acknowledged me, saying, "Go wait outside. It's smoky in here." "Chloe, are you angry?" The unexpected question made her freeze. Even her stirring paused. After a moment, "Ethan, do I have the right or the status to be angry right now?" There was a strange sadness in her voice when she asked that. In the 3 years I'd known her, Chloe had always been sunny and cheerful. Being with her these past 3 years brought me a lot of unexpected joy. Our relationship had been somewhat ambiguous for a long time. But back then, I needed to study, to build my own life, and she was also busy forging her path, so we tacitly avoided the subject. Until this time, when Chloe proactively invited me back to New York to work on Green Mountain. Honestly, when I first heard her invitation, I was hesitant. I was afraid we would end up just being ordinary friends. But ultimately, courage won over fear. I thought I should be by her side. So, before Chloe could react, I stepped forward, cupped her face in my hands, leaned down slightly, and kissed her. "Chloe, of course you have that right." I could feel her body trembling slightly, then stiffening. After a long moment, she dropped the spatula she was holding, turned off the stove, and then hugged me tightly, standing on her toes to deepen the kiss, moving from gentle to passionate. Chloe was much shorter than me, so with a simple turn, I easily lifted her onto the kitchen island. One of her hands rested on my chest, the other hooked around my neck. The air crackled with electric chemistry. We were like fish stranded on a beach, gasping for air. Not until I placed her on the soft mattress, even in the dim light, could I clearly see the unconcealed desire in Chloe's eyes. Like exploring a precious treasure, I gently caressed her face, then lowered my head for a soft kiss on the corner of her lips. She didn't answer directly, but tilting her neck up to kiss me again was the best answer possible. Sensing I was awake, Chloe walked in wearing her pajamas. From the moment she saw me, the smile never left her lips. She sat on the edge of the bed, leaned over, and kissed me. "Want to keep sleeping or eat something?" "Let's eat." I returned the kiss, got dressed, and took her hand as we walked out of the bedroom. The food she had reheated was on the table, including the sweet and sour ribs I had been craving for so long. The happiness of that moment was indescribable. Since confirming our relationship, Chloe and I stopped hiding it at the studio. Soon everyone knew we were dating, including Olivia. "Ethan, tell me they're lying." She burst through the door of my break room while I was revising the script. Her sudden entrance shattered my train of thought, and a surge of irritation rose within me. I put down the script and frowned at Olivia. "Didn't anyone teach you to knock before entering?" Olivia fell silent, just looking at me, waiting for me to deny my relationship with Chloe. But I disappointed her. I looked up at her and said calmly, "They weren't lying. Chloe and I are together. We'll let you know when we get married, Miss Hamilton. Maybe you can come and give a wedding gift." My indifferent attitude thoroughly enraged Olivia. She strode towards me, gripping my shoulders tightly, asking frantically and angrily, "Are you still holding a grudge against me for what happened before? Are you still acting out because of those things? But Liam and I really have nothing going on. Ethan, the person I've loved from the beginning has always been you. I will never forget that you saved my life, nor will I forget the 5 years we lived together in that small town. We were each other's everything." How did we become strangers? As she spoke the last words, a scalding tear fell onto my face. Olivia looked at my neck with empty, despairing eyes. There was an unusual red mark there. Her pupils contracted sharply. She raised her hand and tried to rub it vigorously, but it only got redder, not disappearing. Realizing what it was, Olivia's hand fell limply. You too. I couldn't stand it anymore. I pushed her away forcefully and stood up abruptly. Olivia, since returning to New York, you forbade anyone from mentioning our past. I personally heard you tell those friends that those 5 years were the most humiliating time of your life. Later, you and the people around you repeatedly reminded me that I only have the life I have today because I saved you. Don't forget, you said I was just an orphan from a small town, that without you, I would never have become who I am today. No, that's not true. She wanted to refute it, but she couldn't find the words. I took a deep breath, feeling weary. It's true that without the Hamiltons' generosity, I wouldn't have the life I have now. But I saved your life, so we're even. I don't want to be even with you, Olivia shouted, tears streaming down her face, stepping forward again to grab my hand. Seeing this, I quickly stepped back. Don't come closer. Olivia, I know the dream you mentioned is because you were reborn, because I was too. Hearing this, she stopped abruptly, looking at me in disbelief. It's precisely because everything I experienced in my past life, the horrific images of my death, still frequently appear in my dreams, that I can't forget what I truly went through. Heaven gave me a second chance, and I don't want to get entangled in meaningless, toxic relationships again. I'm doing very well now, very happy. I hope to protect this happiness from being disturbed, which is why I never told you about being reborn. Now you know why I left you. I hope you can respect my decision. I took another deep breath and looked up at her. So, please stop bothering me. In the end, Olivia left without saying another word. I thought we probably wouldn't see each other again, but I never expected to hear news of her suicide attempt that very night. They said when the paramedics arrived, her body was already losing warmth. Olivia had submerged herself in the bathtub, the cuts on both wrists deep enough to expose bone clearly. She had been determined to die. Luckily, her housekeeper found her in time, saving her life. Chloe asked if I wanted to go see her. I was silent for a moment, then smiled at her. Director Chloe, you're being so generous? Maybe I should just get back together with Olivia, have 2 girlfriends. Hearing this, Chloe chuckled and snuggled into my arms. I'm not generous at all. The following summer, Chloe and I held our wedding. She even thoughtfully invited the folks from the small town who had once taken care of me, because she said, I want everyone who knows us to witness our happiness. Some people might use my most sensitive past to stab me deeply, while others cherish that past, vowing to treat me well for a lifetime. I don't know what kind of ending truly counts as happy, but I feel that right now is the best it can be. The ceremony was about to begin. I sat nervously in the dressing room, constantly adjusting my suit or hair. Just then, the phone on the table rang. I picked it up and saw an unfamiliar number. Without much thought, I answered, but the line was silent for a long time. Just as I thought it was a spam call and was about to hang up, a hoarse, familiar voice spoke. It was Olivia. Ethan, I heard you're getting married today. Yes. Hearing my answer, Olivia was silent for a moment, then chuckled sadly. I always thought the person marrying you would be me. Later, I did marry you, but I didn't know how to cherish it. I deserved to lose you. Ethan, you said you didn't want to see me again. So even when I tried to use suicide to keep you, it didn't work. You were cruel to me for the first time. Hearing this, I sighed deeply. Olivia, when I was good to you, I nearly gave my life. So even if I resent you now, my conscience is clear. I know. That's why, no matter how unwilling I am, I chose to let you go. She suppressed her smile, her voice lowering. At least Chloe is someone who can make you happy. It's just such a pity I won't get to see you walk towards happiness. From now on, I'll travel the world. In every place I visit, I will sincerely pray for you, wishing you peace and joy. If one day you stop receiving my blessings, perhaps I'll have truly died far from home. As she said this, Olivia's tone held an unprecedented sense of calm acceptance. But being away from you, dying far from home might be the best ending. Finally, she said, Ethan, I'm sorry, And, I love you. Memories suddenly flashed back to the summer 10 years ago when I found Olivia. The young girl in a white dress sat beside me as we watched the orange sunset. Olivia suddenly turned to me and said, "Ethan, I want to watch the sunset with you forever." The wedding march began to play at that exact moment. I hung up the phone and placed it on the table. I walked towards my new life,